We are unique. We're based in the neural sciences. In the 18 to 24 month period after any human being on the planet is born, certain chemicals come together in the brain and they create specific neural pathways. These pathways never change. They're static. So it's a deep dive into an individual. It basically tells us the environment one best thrives within.
What if you could understand how someone is wired before you hire them, before you promote them, or before you bring them on your team? Jay Hawreluk has helped hundreds of companies hire smarter, lead better, and build stronger teams through his work as the founder of AcuMax. In this episode, he breaks down how understanding someone's natural wiring, the way they process, communicate, and make decisions, can completely change how you build trust and you drive performance in your team. So whether you're scaling a company or you just want to lead more effectively, this conversation is packed with takeaways that you can use right away. Let's dig in. Welcome to the BLTnT Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Loria, serving up real stories of business, life, technology, and transformations. You'll hear from interesting people about big changes from career shifts to life-altering decisions and the innovations that help make it all happen. It's about sharing those light bulb moments, pivot points, challenges overcome, and the journeys that inspire us to think differently. If you're on the lookout for insights to propel you forward, stories that resonate, or just a bit of inspiration on your next BLTnT move, you're in the right place. Let's dig in. Welcome to another episode of the BLTnT Podcast. I'm Matt Loria, and I'm here with my friend Jay Hawreluk.
Matt, good to be here. Good to see you.
Nice. Yes. And I just learned just a couple minutes ago that Jay is not your name any longer. It is now Super Jay.
Yeah, my grandkids call me Super Jay.
Okay. Well, I think I'm changing it in my phone right now.
But that's a good idea, you know. So, no, what happened is when my daughter-in-law got pregnant with the oldest, she called me in December and said, I got to know your grandparent name. Now, Tyler wasn't scheduled to be born until May. So I said, you know, it's early. It doesn't, and plus, he's not going to be talking for a while. I have to know now. I have to know now. She's kind of a demanding person. And so I said, well, you know, I'm too young to be grandpa. So I started to do synonyms of grandpa, you know, fantastic, wonderful, and then said super. So I said, Super Jay. And she's like, I'm not going to have my kids call you Super Jay. Well, Craig thought it was hilarious. And when Tyler was born, he said to the camera, because they're in Maryland.
Yeah.
And it's like, say hi to Super Jay. So they've called me Super Jay.
All right.
You know, and so it's unique. It's different. It's fun. They've shortened it. Now they're older. They call me Soup.
Okay.
So, you know.
All right. So Super Jay is, aside from being a super grandpa, is the CEO, president, founder of AcuMax.
That's correct.
That's what you do for your day job.
That's what I do for my day job.
Okay.
Yep.
When you're not changing diapers and doing super grandpa.
Oh, it's been a long time since that. They're grown.
Okay.
They spent a week with us the beginning of August, and it was great. It was just great having them there. And you know, Tyler, he's 19. And when he graduated from high school, I thought he was going to be an engineer. And I said, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm going into the skilled trades. So he got a job with an electrical company as an apprentice. They're paying for his schooling. He's like, in 7 years, I can be a master electrician and have my own company.
Yeah.
So I like the entrepreneurialism.
Love it.
You know, Parker the younger, he just turned 17. He's quite a good golfer. I got him on TPC Michigan to golf 18. Kid, first time on there, hit an 86.
What do you normally hit?
I don't golf.
Okay.
I know I live on a golf course, but I don't golf. I plan on.
I hit 86 on the first 9. That's
kind of what I was looking at, you know. Now, Craig, he did a 109, so that's kind of more my area.
Gotcha.
But I was impressed with that. I said, you know, man, you're good. For being, at the time, 16 and hitting an 86 on TPC, pretty good.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
All right. So, Super Jay, tell us about AcuMax. I obviously know what it is. I'm a customer.
Yes,
I have been for a while in 2 different companies, and so let's talk about that and hear what that does, because you said that daughter-in-law was a little demanding, so I'd love to know what her AcuMax profile is. So let's start off by telling everybody what AcuMax.
She works for the company now.
Okay.
So. Well, AcuMax Index were considered a personality assessment, but most personality assessments are based in the social sciences, the observable behavior of people. We are unique. We're based in the neurosciences. In the 18 to 24 month period after any human being on the planet is born, certain chemicals come together in the brain and they create specific neural pathways. These pathways never change, they're static. So it's a deep dive into an individual. It basically tells us the environment one best thrives within. You have kids, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you go through the terrible twos?
Well, remember mine are all adopted, so I got them all after the terrible twos.
That's right. Well,
terrible teens got them through that.
Well, when are we the smartest in our lifetime? When
we're a teenager.
17. Ask any 17-year-old. They know everything. So, but no, a lot of people that go through that, they go through the terrible twos. And the reason is your wiring pattern is the purest at that point in time. Behavior is inundated by external elements, what we call nurture, where I'm born, upbringing, education, where I got it, life's experiences, all the good and the bad things that happen to somebody over a lifetime change your innate behavior. I mean, by your wiring, you're innately trusting of people. But my guess is because you're trusting of people, you've probably gotten burned a few times. So what happens is that age of maturity kicks in. You want to trust them, but then a little guy pops up on your shoulder and says, I don't think so.
Yeah. Remember those other times? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great explanation why and understanding, not good, bad, right, wrong, just is. But so it's a deep dive into an individual and it does not change.
Great. A couple of comments about the AcuMax profile. So what it does is it breaks things down into 5 different elements, right? And or different what are they called? What are the 5 elements called?
Drive characteristics.
And when I first was in an executive peer group, everybody knew about this but me. And so we're in Michigan. And in Michigan, everybody plays euchre except for me. Okay. And so when people are playing euchre around a table, they're all talking this, Trump, Bauer, and everything's moving really fast. And nobody ever really wants to teach it to you. Okay. That's kind of how it was with AcuMax. Oh, hi, A, this, B, you, this, D, this. And I'm like, you guys are all talking Greek. I don't understand Greek. And I'm getting pissed off because nobody's explaining this to me. And so eventually, it was taught to me, through our mentor and that. And I remember one of the things they taught us was, and you said it's not good or bad, it just is.
Right.
And it was very eye-opening for me, because you're looking at something and you're thinking, I was thinking some of what I learned in my upbringing was, oh, that guy's okay. That guy's an idiot. That guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
Right. And, and that wasn't always the right, judgment, to put on those people. Oh, they're certainly not like me. They're different, but why is that? And then you start to learn this and you go through these behavioral kind of analytics like this, and you realize, oh, okay. So these things are what light somebody else up versus me. I get lit up by something completely different.
Absolutely.
And boy, what a change in my paradigm of just the world of, okay, everybody can be different and it's okay.
Yep, it is.
And you need a little bit of everybody.
It kind of just explains the reason why.
Sure.
There's no good wiring, there's no bad wiring, there's just wiring. And one of the things we're very proud of is we are very objective in how we present. Everybody has strengths. Everybody has limitations. We don't honor one wiring over another. Many instruments out there slant toward or against a particular type of personality. So we're very objective. The best wiring pattern is the one you need for a specific job. That's really how it is. But any wiring pattern can fit based upon the job role.
Okay. And you're I remember you telling me, I can't remember what the is it EEOC that your system can be used to determine, do we hire somebody or do we not?
To be used as part of the pre-screening process, you have to have two elements.
Okay.
Number one, you have to be statistically validated, which statistical validation really means, do we purport to measure what we say we measure? Second of all, are you EEOC compliant? You can't apply for it. You just have to be it.
Okay.
So that means, do you bias toward or against any particular class? And we do not.
Gotcha. So that's why it's so prevalent in business here, and it's easy to use. And
well, it saves businesses time and money, because I can have somebody take the assessment with a press of a button, see how well they match the design position profile. If they're a good match, I bring them in for an interview. If they're not a good match, pass and move on. So what it eliminates is that oftentimes that step where you're bringing in tons of people to interview. And it's a great indicator. Actually, you get information out of the survey process. When you send a survey to a candidate and they don't complete it, their level of interest in the job is low. Sure. And those are historically the people you've scheduled interviews with, and they don't show up.
Yep.
So it gives you a lot of insight in the interview process, but then you can focus. I already know the person's wiring. So the interview can shift, because a lot of times a standard interview is, I gotta get to know Matt. I know about him. Well, I already know about him from his wiring pattern, so I can shift the interview to talk more about what his aspirations are. Is he going to be a culture fit? What kind of a culture is he looking for? Because culture is very important in an organization right now. So I can change the interview process. Plus, we also have individual questions interview questions based upon somebody's wiring pattern.
Sure.
That helps oftentimes hiring managers who aren't professional interviewers. Oftentimes that can turn into a get to know you session. No, I like Matt. He's a great guy. He golfs. We should hire him.
Sure.
Or a data dump on the company.
Yep.
So it allows them to ask better questions, be a little deeper into the individual, kind of get to know them.
Perfect. So let's do this. Let's, and I know you are kind of a savant. You basically remember everyone that you've ever met. You remember their wiring pattern. So pick on you and me, and let's tell everybody what your wiring pattern is, what mine is, how that shows up different in both of us.
Okay.
And then we can fight about it.
My wiring pattern, let me talk about the channels first.
Okay.
So we divide into A, B, C, and D, and there's several instruments that use A, B, C, D, by the way. But A is what we call autonomy. When you're high in the A, you're an individual who likes their way of doing things best. When you're low in the A, you're actually more team-oriented. You like options and decision-making. One of the big differentiators is high A's can never be engaged in an idea unless they put their thumbprint on it. Make it theirs. That's kind of the key buy-in. Low A says, hey, if it's a great idea, let's do it. So that's just kind of a quick thumbnail. B is what we call communication. Everybody talks, everybody thinks, but the B drive is how I process thought. High B's were verbal communicators. We're the kind of individuals that'll sit down and say, okay, I'm thinking about turning right. I'm thinking about going straight. I'm thinking about turning left. But as we verbalize, we develop the thought process and consecrate ideas. Low B's are just the opposite. They have to take time to think an important issue through. Low B's are oftentimes the ones that'll come after a company meeting, come up to you the next day and go, I was thinking about what we talked about at that meeting. I'm not so sure I bought in. C is what we call patience factor. So when you're high in the patience factor, your work style is to be more sequential, plan your activities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, more follow it in order. You like elements of focus. You don't really prefer distractions. You have a long fuse. Low C is just the opposite. We do a things to do list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll start on 26. Jump over to 7, work on 3, 4, and 5. We have shorter fuses. We want to make quicker decisions. We like more variety. We'll do a things to do list again, and we'll follow it in any order. D is what we call certainty. High D's like proven information and data in the decision-making process. They want to know the why factor. Low Ds, we want the critical points of information. And then lastly is the tilt factor. Tilt factor does a couple of things. Number one, it's how I tilt in an ambiguous decision. 50% of the numbers say turn right, 50% of the numbers say turn left. What will tilt be? Higher tilts can make a gut decision, though they don't feel as comfortable with it. They tilt more toward the objective, the black and white. Low tilts, we can make gut decisions and feel very comfortable with them. All right. The second thing, it's innate approachability. Low tilts they're more approachable. We have smaller personal space zones. Higher tilts have wider personal space zones. They're less approachable. It can be a red flag. About 3% of the time, it may be too high or too low in a profile. And there's a special indicator that comes up in the software if that happens. So my profile, I'm high in the A. I like my way of doing things best. I'm highest in the B. I like people interaction. I like to verbalize my thoughts. I want response when I'm communicating with people. I'm low in the C. I'm more impatient. I'm low in the D. I want the critical points of information. You and I, and actually I'm low tilt, you and I are very similarly wired. The only difference is the A drive. You're highest in the B, low in the C, low in the D, low tilt. Low A, you're a little more team-oriented. You like options and decision-making, but you will accept conflict when necessary. So yeah, we're pretty similar.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, we got great wiring patterns.
Good stuff. But I noticed though, so then your system spits out two versions. One is the natural wiring, right? Which is that kind of innate, it's not changing type of wiring. And then the other is the adjusted, which my understanding, and I'll make sure you can test me here, is about the last 90 days view of kind of your working version of you. Is that about right? Yeah. Well, it's
a rear view mirror the last 90 to 120 days of your life.
Okay.
It's predominantly driven by work, but important personal events can show up in it.
Got it.
So having, a flat tire or a bad hair day is not an important personal event. Of course, you never have a bad hair day. No,
perfect hair every day.
I'm jealous, by the way. So getting married, getting divorced.
Yep.
Death or sickness of a family member. If I had to move cross country for a new job. So the adjusted self creates great talking points because it only exists in two places, on that piece of paper and in the person's head. So, you have to read it a little differently, and we have reports for that. So you say to somebody, well, why are you feeling this way? And well, you promised me that I could take control of this project, but every time I want to, you won't let me. So it creates great talking points amongst people. It also tells us, am I energized by my environment or de-energized? Now, energized, de-energized doesn't mean I don't like what I do. Energized means I'm getting my motivators. De-energized means either I'm making wiring changes, which takes mental energy, or I'm not getting enough of my motivators. So it creates great talking points. So for example, you're motivated by, hey, great job. Let's talk it through. Yeah, you've got an issue. Let's kind of communicate with it. Offer of help. You may not always take it, but it means a lot to you. Whereas somebody who's wired the opposite of you, somebody who is highest, let's say, in the D drive, good job, it's okay. But what they really want to hear is work done well, why? Areas needing improvement, and why? Because by their very nature, they will strive for perfection and things that are important to them. Motivators simply build self-confidence. The more self-confidence people have, the better they are in their job, the happier they are, more satisfied, less turnover to the organization, and more profitability for the company.
Great. So I'll have you dig in on mine a little bit here. So my adjusted wiring has been highest A, high B, but dialed down, low C, low D, still low tilt factor for the last, at least, as long as I've been testing it. So that's been 12 years or 15 years or whatever it's been. Every retake that I've done is exactly the same. And so am I okay? This episode of the BLTnT Podcast is sponsored by Auxiom, business IT and cybersecurity designed to outsmart chaos. And powered by Juniper Networks. Automate your network with Juniper Networks and the Mist AI platform, the world's first AI-driven wired and wireless network.
Well, you're only moving one drive, and you're trying to either be more forceful, assertive, or more of the team leader. All right, which makes sense. You're an entrepreneur. You run your own business. So yeah, you're okay. But it does drain energy.
It does, yeah.
And that's kind of the key. So oftentimes, I'll talk to a CEO or a president of an organization. They go, I'm constantly de-energized. Why? One of the residual effects that impacts a lot of entrepreneurs is the results we seek never come fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
So if we wanted a 20% increase in sales and we got 25%, we're like, that's great. But if we hadn't screwed around so much, we could have got 30. And that's a haunting effect of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now you got me thinking 1,000 different thoughts here. So I'm gonna move on. I want you to tell me and everyone else, how you got into this, because I think you obviously have to like people, like talking to people, you like helping people.
Mm-hmm.
How did you end up here doing this?
Well, I kind of quite by accident fell into this arena 25 years ago. I was working as a lean manufacturing consultant, which was basically, business development and then chilling out between the executive team and the process improvement team. Our company had a pretty poor behavioral department. I would really kind of sum it up by saying, it was the classic, the beatings will continue until morale improves. So I kind of went looking and I stumbled upon an assessment, and in my conversations, they offered me a position. And I really liked it. Imagine my wife's surprise, though, when I came home and said, hey, guess what? I'm going to go sell assessments. She's a wonderful person, has been very supportive. So
very patient. How's she on the patience?
A little low, but she's a wonderful wife.
Okay.
So I got involved in it and I became very successful at it, and really enjoyed what I did. However, there were some things that they taught that didn't make sense. And I have an inquiring mind. I'm very inquisitive.
Got that high A. You also want to have your thumb.
So I would say, well, I don't understand this. This doesn't really make sense. This teaching, hey, maybe it applied good 30, 40 years ago, but it just doesn't apply today. And kind of bang my head up against the wall frequently. I'd call in and say, we got to change these things. Well, we'll take it to the advisory board, and if they approve it, maybe a change could be made in 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. So, make a long story short, I ended up leaving. And I kiddingly say this, but it's true because we're both members of a professional group. Mm-hmm. But hanging out with entrepreneurs for all those years kind of gave me the entrepreneurial bug.
So that wasn't in your innate, well, I don't know if wiring is the word, but like it wasn't on your roadmap originally?
It wasn't, no. Entrepreneurialism isn't a wiring pattern. It's a mindset.
Okay.
It really is, because you have entrepreneurs that are wired every way possible out there. The commonality that I've noticed over the years is it's a mindset. And I think probably I had that mindset, but I was really happy with what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided to strike out on my own. I had a 1-year non-solicitation that I honored, but I developed this tool. I had gotten very interested in the neurosciences, and that's more of an emerging area, by the way, from the social sciences that so many behavioral assessments are based in. So I got very interested in that. And so during my time off, I started developing the assessment. And actually, kind of a cool story, Facebook was kind of fun because I reconnected with people I hadn't talked to in 20, 30 years. Hey, could you help me out a little bit? And so my first couple attempts were a disaster. They were just a complete disaster. So I decided, well, rather than try and do it all at once, because, I'm low C, I'm impatient, let's get it all done. So I broke them down into the individual drives.
Mm.
And then I would have people do them, and then I would get feedback from them. Does this make sense? Then I started to put it all together. And then I went into, I don't know how many companies. And I said, hey, I'll let you have all these reports if you'll let me survey everybody in your company and then sit down and debrief with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that. And sometimes I would, be honest about the person's wiring pattern. And other times I'd be like, oh, you like your way of doing things best. You're really heads down. You want to process. You want lots of detail. They're like, no. And then I'd say, okay, well, explain it to me. And then I'd show them the report. So I did it that way on purpose to get positive feedback.
Okay.
So did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those. And it was kind of challenging because we didn't have software at the time. So I would do the graphs on a PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
And develop all the graphs on a PowerPoint. So,
so how long did it take you to really hone it in to where, the accuracy was
a year?
Took you the year?
Took a year. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Then when I knew it was correct, then we went through the validation standpoint. And I have a behavioral statistician that's validated it for us. Those are challenging to find, by the way, who validated it for us. And then as part of the validation, you want to look at different sampling sets. You want to look at women, you want to look at older people, younger people, people of color. So you want to look at that. Is there any statistical skewing that's occurring based upon any of those subsets?
Mm-hmm.
And no, there wasn't.
Interesting. That's really interesting, especially because I think differently as I get older, right? So even just thinking about myself, but my wiring doesn't change.
Nope, but that's age of maturity. My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, Jay, the older you get, the smarter I'll become, and darn it if he wasn't right.
But now we don't even have to be smart because we have AI, right?
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
We still have to be smart.
But so shifting into the AI conversation, big launch in September of this year. Tell us about it.
In September, we introduced AI into the AcuMax platform, where we started with just two arenas. Number one, an individual wiring pattern.
Okay.
And number two, a position profile. Now, the eventual goal is to expand it into group profiles and team dynamics.
So give me an example. What's that mean or look like? Because I've not played with it.
Okay, so if for an individual profile, you can ask it, summarize this profile. What jobs would this person be good for? What are their strengths and limitations? How are they best coached? How would what would be the best performance improvement program for them? So you have a lot of practical applications. From the position side, write a job advertisement. What skills are necessary? What other jobs would this position profile apply to?
Can you ask it then? So writing a position profile, if you have the job description, can you pump that in there and ask it what profile would likely work the best with
this? You
this?
can say, based upon these, what do you think would be the best? And now it's not going to come out and say A, B, C, D, but it's going to say higher in autonomy, lower in communication, higher in process, lower. But yes.
And isn't that a lot of what you get in terms of calls from people today? Is people asking you that question?
Absolutely.
So how's that helping you with scalability?
Well, it allows the clients to do more on their own, get faster information. We have ways of creating a position profile, but they can do it much quicker this way. But as with any AI, you've got to validate the data. We've been really happy from what we've seen. It seems that it's been pretty consistent. I mean, when we were doing quality, we had fun with it. We'd say, how would Matt be as a criminal? And it gave a great answer. You can't tell criminal intent based upon a wiring pattern.
Thank goodness.
That's true. Yeah. Well, people ask me that all the time. What are the wiring patterns of criminals? Same as all of us. It's just they're there for different reasons, we just asked it fun questions too. If this person could fly, how often would they fly? And it gave great answers based upon the wiring pattern.
Interesting.
what would be this person's superpower? So we had a lot of fun with it as well. We encourage our clients to have some fun with it as well. He gave great answers. I mean, with mine, it was magnetic persuasion, which I think probably is pretty good.
Okay.
For my wife's, it was time manipulation.
Ooh.
Because she's a very task-based wiring pattern.
Okay.
And so it said the time manipulation would allow her to slow down time when she has a lot to do or speed it up when she's done.
Okay.
And I talked to her about it. She's like, yeah, that's me.
It'd be perfect, huh?
So yeah, it was just kind of it was fun. And we're proud of how accurate the information and the data is coming back.
The engine behind it, is it learning also as it goes?
Yes.
Is it continually getting better? Have you noticed?
Yes, it is. And one of the things is if you ask it the same question twice, it'll give you a different answer the second time. If you do it consecutively.
Yep.
So it will kind of say, well, okay, maybe this one didn't work. It'll give you a slightly different answer. But yeah, it's learning.
So if you correct it, if you say something like, hey, that's not really how this is feeling in real life, it's learning it and applying it across the back end of the system then?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And we integrated it, and so we're getting good information. We ran in our early days of working with AI, we were trying to just take bits and pieces of AI into the software, and it would get confused. So if we asked it, tell me about the A drive, it would do that right. But if we said, tell me about A, B, C, D, high A, low B, low C, high D, it would get information wrong. It got confused. So we found through the integration, it learns faster. It keeps all of our information confidential, so we're excited about that. And we think it's just going to be a great boon for the clients, and
Excellent.
We're going to expand it to group profiles, team dynamics. So, what's the dysfunctions of this team? Where would this team be better served? Who would be a better individual in the team? So, but we thought, we got to walk before we can run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're still collecting client feedback on it. Because one of the things I'm really proud of in our software, we're on the 5th version of our software, by the way, in 13 years. But what I'm really proud of is that the clients have had so much input into it. They've called us up and they said, gee, it would be great if it could do this.
Well, I've noticed that, when you've had some summits and things of that nature where you bring together groups of clients, and I mean, they're zealots. I mean, the people who are using it really love it. So you're doing something right. How many, what's the footprint looking like right now? What type of companies, where's it being used? Give me some idea of that.
Well, right now we're in probably 70 different fields. People ask me, what companies use AcuMax? And I reply, companies that hire people. Now if you're totally all robotic, no, it's not going to work. And I don't know what the wiring pattern is for a robot. But predominantly we focus on growth-oriented companies, entrepreneurs who want to expand and grow their businesses, and companies that are suffering a turnover problem. We will solve turnover. I mean, based on the industry, some industries, there's 100% turnover.
Sure.
If you can get it down to 70%, that's a huge monetary savings for that business. But we do have clients that have no turnover at all, other than retirement, but they really follow the process well. It helps you strategically build your workforce.
Okay.
And reduce turnover. Because here's the issue that occurs. Somebody who's not a wiring fit for their job is usually turnover or a problem child. Can you play along with me here real quick? Would you want to work on an assembly line?
I would not.
Could you do the work if you had to?
I could.
More importantly, when you went in for the interview, could you sell yourself as a good assembly line worker?
If I needed that job, I absolutely could.
What would you be thinking every day when you walked into work?
I want to shoot myself in the face.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why, 65% of the U.S. workforce is disconnected from their jobs. There's really two reasons. Number one, I'm not a wiring fit for the job.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, I'm not properly motivated. Because today's managers, there is some degree of authoritative management out there, but that's really kind of waning. Good managers need to be coaches, and they need to build the self-confidence of your workforce. The more you build the self-confidence of your workforce, the less supervision they need.
Correct.
And actually, it kind of ties right into a human need of self-determination and self-direction. Most employees don't want to be super managed. But if you build them up the right way, developing their self-confidence, they flourish.
That's great. What have you learned as a leader? You went from being an employee, however many years ago, 13 years, 14 years ago, running your own business. What are some of the biggest learnings that you've had?
The number one is understanding that most of your employees are not going to have the same mindset that you have. As I said earlier, entrepreneurialism is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're not going to have that same mindset. That's fine. That took me a little time to kind of understand. The second thing is I provide a lot of autonomy to my team. We train them up correctly. We provide autonomy. We set goals. And then we talk about those goals weekly and try and get them motivated. I've got a team that's been with me for a long time.
And everybody's remote too.
And everybody's remote.
Which adds to the autonomy piece.
Well, that was another learning tool. Not everybody is cut out to be remote.
That is true.
We hired some people who really wanted to come on board, good wiring, but they were very corporate driven. And so they missed those corporate meetings. And so it takes a special kind of person to be able to work autonomously and, not want to sit down and watch TV in the middle of the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a great team. They're all very focused. We're very flexible. That's one of the things I've kind of learned is to be very flexible. We don't have any required work hours. We don't have any vacation policy. And we hired a person, and he'd been on board about a month, and he called me up and he said, "This is weird. You don't have any scheduled work hours, but everybody's always online and working, and you don't have any vacation policy, but nobody really abuses it. Why?" I said, "Well, I hope to hire adults. If it's like this, if you want time, take it. If it's a slow Thursday afternoon in July and you want to go out and cut your grass, go right ahead. I don't care. As long as we take care of the clients.
Mm-hmm.
Client service, customer service is one of our number one values. And as long as you take care of that, have flexibility."
Well, and I can say, I didn't even know that until you just told me that about the level of flexibility that you offer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and I've called at some odd times, or real early, real late type of times. And I always get somebody that is there that's highly competent that can answer my question. That's the other thing is that I've never run into, I got to talk to Jay about that. No one's ever said that to me.
No, I mean, they're very well trained. They know what they do, what they're doing. I mean, it does take, a lot of people think this is easy. It takes a good 6 to 9 months to bring somebody up to speed because it's all the minor things, the subtle points. You can learn the basics in a short period of time, but to be a really good consultant and then to also understand the business and the problems that they're having. So it takes some time to get to that level.
Sure.
But yeah, we have a great team. One of my guys, his son plays baseball. He knocks off at 4:00, takes him to the game, spends time. Then he's back online at 9, 10 o'clock at night. So, and I don't care, as long as clients are taken care of and we work as a team. So if somebody is off, somebody else will pick it up. So, because I think that number one lesson, I think for any business out there that I would say is maximize customer service.
Sure.
Because people love great customer service. They really do.
Yep. And they'll pay for it. you've got another transformation kind of in process here. You've been the both the CEO and president of the organization for a long time.
Yep.
And now you have a chief operating officer who's going to take even more of the day-to-day pieces.
Yes. Well, I'm going to be 69. By the way, the appropriate response is,
Yeah, I forgot.
go ahead. No, Jay, no way.
Yeah.
You don't look that.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm going to be 69 years old. And, my wife was involved in the business. She retired the end of December of 24. And so I'm cutting back on the business. It's about time. And, so my chief operating officer, she's great. She was a user of the tool for 10 years.
Oh, that's a testament, huh?
Before she came on board. And my first employee ever, Ed Fisher, when Ed was announced he was going to retire, I was putting out ads and she contacted me. And, she got a lot of experience from a hands-on practical perspective of using it, which is great for the clients. She's younger. She's pretty much, we are 98% paperless now. We're actually much more efficient. She's really taken the operations and done a great job. So
great. What do you think the future holds with her doing what she's doing?
I've been hearing a lot lately about the knock. When an employee knocks on your office door and says, "Got a minute?" and you immediately know it's some sort of IT incident. But Auxiom IT can help. Whether you're having a problem, need consulting, an upgrade, or a managed IT approach, they focus on preventing cyber attacks and proactive solutions that deliver results. My friend Matt Loria and everyone at Auxiom are ready to help before or after you get the knock. Visit Auxiom.com and let Auxiom IT help you outsmart chaos.
She's very growth oriented. She's chomping on the bit. She's like, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. And we're actually going to be meeting later this month to go through her business plan.
Okay.
I'm not going to be I'm going to step away from the day-to-day operations, but I'm not going to completely step away from the business. We're going to be doing a podcast series kind of similar to you. I see a great idea. I copy it.
There you go. R&D, rip off and duplicate.
That's right.
Yep.
Rip off and duplicate. I tell everybody, this was my own idea. So we're going to be doing that. I like to do presentations to groups and things like that. So, and Leslie's excited. She wants me to be involved. And so, because I did ask her, I said, are you sure you want me involved? She's like, yeah, I really do. So, the team is preparing for it. She's very growth oriented. But that comes with what a person told me. I think there's a lot of truth in this. When you're 40s, man, you just got all the energy and you want to conquer the world. In the 50s, it kind of starts to wane a little bit. And in the 60s, you're like, why the heck am I still doing this? And I think there's some truth to that. There really is. So my team is younger, which was one of our goals, to get younger.
Okay.
So they're younger. They're very passionate about it. They want to grow the organization. And so I'm excited for them. It's time for new leadership.
Got it. When you look back and you maybe tell Leslie, hey, here was the hardest season of growth for us, when you were pushing on that growth throttle, what are some of the stories you would tell her or advice you would give her?
Well, one of the first things is be persistent. You're in sales. I mean, I'm in sales. There's going to be good times. And there's going to be not so good times. But the thing is, you can't throw in the towel. You can't throw up your hands. One of my consultants was having a bit of a rough streak. And I'm like, just be persistent, go after it, keep working them, and then landed a great deal. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing. Just be persistent, be goal focused. You never know what's going to happen. At the beginning of 2020, none of us predicted COVID.
Right.
I remember coming back from a conference and being on the plane, and we're all wiping everything down with Clorox wipes. Man, we'll be glad when this is over within 2 weeks. So things are going to happen that way. You just kind of have to be flexible, kind of roll with the punches. But the biggest thing is be persistent. As you know, you have highs, you have lows. I think you don't want to get too impacted by the highs, but you also don't want to get too impacted by the lows.
Oh, yeah.
It happens. I mean, business it's hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Sure.
So it's hard. But that's kind of been my biggest thing is kind of nose to the grindstone. When I left my other organization, I started this. There were people that were interested in what I was doing, but they waited a couple of years.
Yeah, right.
They wanted to make sure I was going to make it. So, sure, you're going to go bankrupt or something. So.
Sure. Yeah, you just had that entrepreneurial piece where you could stomach the risk, could stomach the uncertainty, and the others didn't.
Well, and that's it,
and that's okay too, right?
Yeah, it is. It is okay, and so I just think kind of being persistent, treating your team fairly and good. And she's great with the team. They love her and she's great with them. And, she's probably better with them than I am.
Mm-hmm. Did you see how fast I was to agree?
Yeah. Well, us entrepreneurs, we could be a little bit of a headache at times, I'm getting some nods in the room here. So,
you said to me something, we were talking the other day, and you said that entrepreneurs don't set boundaries. Talk about that and like how that's kind of, I don't know, shaped your journey maybe. And even how that's gone into this kind of what I would call first level of succession planning here, right? Because you're not leaving the organization. You're just changing some of the roles that you have and what you're doing. So how's that not setting of boundaries? Entrepreneurs don't have boundaries, as much.
Well, I think when you first start a business as an entrepreneur, and you can relate to this, 100% of your focus is on the business. 100%. So it's like working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Well, I got to do it.
Yeah.
I have to do it. Because if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And I was like that, and a few years into the business, my wife, she came into my office and she kind of stood across me and she says, I want to talk to you. I'm like, yeah. She goes, I understand this is important. I'm just asking you to reprioritize a little bit because I'd like to spend at least a couple of hours a night with my husband.
Mm-hmm. Not with Jay from AcuMax?
Not with Jay from AcuMax. And that was kind of a wake-up call. And one of the things that, I've dealt with a lot of entrepreneurs over the years, and you can have a lot of entrepreneurs that become hugely successful at the cost of their personal relationship.
Yes.
So always remember, I think that you have to make time for them. It really kind of goes back to the old adage, when you die, people aren't going to remember how much money you made, how many toys you had. People are going to remember the times you spent with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things you have. And so you have to set some boundaries. I'm going to work X, and then I'm going to take some time off. And there's a benefit to it because when you're taking time off, even if it's just hanging out, with the family, doing some things, it refreshes your mind. You actually get more creative that way. You have better ideas. Sometimes you have to walk away from it. So you want to set those boundaries. It's very important. I think because your family with many entrepreneurs, and I know mine is one, are the reason I was successful.
Yeah. We had Doug Manns from Manns Lumber. You've heard of Manns Lumber.
Sure.
And he was here, and that was one of his number one pieces. He said, I had to create the boundaries. I had to make sure that I, gave time to my family appropriately. And he credits that to so much of his success too.
Absolutely. You step away, you get fresh, you get your mind to relax a little bit, you're fresher about it. And it's more important, to spend some time with the people who love you and that you love too.
Sure. So, you had talked about, there's been some other things that we talked about, which was kind of real world impact that you've seen from the work that you've done, right? The tools, the AcuMax tool in particular. Somebody, one of your clients, you had a marriage savings story. You had a kind of a growth story, an acquisition story.
Yeah.
Can you share a couple of those?
Well, one of my clients, he's a huge fan of AcuMax, and anytime he meets anybody, he tells them, "I've saved 3 marriages with this tool."
Okay.
Because this is what happens in a relationship. You know, you meet somebody, they're stars. The stars turn into love.
Did he have to get married 3 times to figure that out?
No, he's helped 3 other people.
Oh, okay.
Got himself. You know, but the reality of it is over time the stars kind of fade, and you know, you look at your wife or your significant other or your husband, and you go, all those cute things you did while we were dating become downright irritating after 5 years of marriage. And I went through it myself.
Jackie, remember that, okay?
I went through that with myself, with my wife. You know, we're both high in the A. We both like our way of doing things best. Early in our relationship, we'd draw a line in the middle of the carpeting and dare each other to cross it, you know? So if I can do a quick story.
Of course.
When I first gotten into all of this, my wife had come home from work and there was a pigeon on our front porch and it had been hit by a car. It had a broken leg and a broken wing. My wife loves animals. So she decided she was going to nurse this pigeon back to health. So she got a basket and, you know, got it together and was feeding it. And so after about a month, the leg healed pretty good, but the wing did not. So my wife says to me, you know, I was wondering if you would build a cage for Pidge. That was our name for the pigeon, Pidge. Very creative people.
Yep, like it.
So I said, sure. You know, so I go to Home Depot and I got some wood and some screen and I'm out in the garage and I'm building the cage, but I'm building it my way. So she comes out and I wasn't building it her way. So we had one of those big knockdown, drag out married people fights in front of the squirrels, the chipmunks, the neighbors, of course, Pidge, over a cage. That was one of our first big aha moments, you know, of how can we use this to better get along? So what we do now is if it's her project, her idea, I can give suggestions. She has veto power. It's my idea, my suggestion, my project. She can give ideas, but I have veto power.
Great.
So we
figured out the rules of the road then.
Yeah, but it creates clarity. It understands why, because see, I never knew it. You know, I'm just like, well, I got the best way of doing things. Why wouldn't you agree with them? And she's like, well, I got the best way of doing things, so I'm not going to agree with you. So my client that saved 3 marriages, he sat down with them and kind of talked through issues, drew it all back to a wiring pattern. And when you know why, the mystery goes away. You know, I mean, we've had some great successes. We worked with a lot of companies. One company, they had 20, 25 employees when we started. They're over 100 today. Virtually no turnover. They've developed their own workforce using this tool. They're a machining company, and finding experienced CNC machinists is difficult these days. The average machinist age is 60-something. And they're in a smaller town, so to bring somebody in is expensive. So they don't even look for people with experience. You have a wiring pattern match, you have good mechanical aptitude, they will bring them in, they'll train them, they have super high retention. I had a client that was kind of the minnow swallowing the whale. They went and they acquired a much bigger organization. And I ran into the CEO at an event and I said, you know, congratulations, you've done great. And I got one of the finest compliments I've ever gotten. He said, I couldn't have done this if I hadn't have known you and used your tool.
Wow.
So those are great things. Those are the things that really make you smile.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the non-monetary things of job satisfaction. When somebody says, my company is better because I've used you, we've improved here, we've improved there. And we do have some raving fans. I have a lot of raving fans.
Yep. That's great. Yep. So saving companies, saving marriages, you're doing good work.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, people have always interested me and it's kind of a fun give back.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I'll wrap this up with the statement that I often make, which is you're uniquely qualified to be exactly where you are. I mean, you look at your history, you look at what drives you, what motivates you, and all the little steps along the way, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is great, which is why there's a smile on your face.
It is. I love what I do. It's kind of the advice that I oftentimes give to people is when you work for a paycheck, you have a job. But when you follow your passion, that doesn't mean being an entrepreneur. Just follow your passion. You can work passion in a company. But when you follow your passion, that's when you get true enjoyment, true satisfaction, and the money always comes.
Yep. Well, great stuff. I think that's a great place to wrap it up. You got anything else you want to share with everybody?
No, I don't. It's been great sitting down with you. It was a lot of fun.
I would agree.
Today, I enjoyed it. I've been waiting for you to ask me to be on your podcast. You finally did, so thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're here. Glad we did it. And I'll anybody who wants to try out AcuMax, you can give me a call. I'll run a profile on them.
There you go.
And assess them, and then we'll shift them over to you for the advanced maneuvering.
That's right. And if you want to go directly to the website, www.AcuMax, AcuMax,
Perfect. Yeah, we'll put that all in the show notes here. Everybody will have access to that.
Super.
And anything else you want to share, if you want to throw up any special site, we'll do that for them as well too. So
sounds good.
All right. Well, great. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks so much for having me, Matt.
Pleasure.